Alright, this is the user folder, the default one anyway. Now, to make a level allow you to edit it, not for purposes of sharing it, but just for your own amusement, you just load a level. We'll load the Hitachi Raceway. I don't know. This is just as good as any. Once it loads, we're going to hit F11. And we're just going to say save level. Now we'll just close the game. Now you see Hitachi Raceway has appeared in our user folder. If we go into its root, this is where you will put the ground models texture from the snow level. Ground models, copy, or you probably extracted it, but you're going to copy it into here. And then you're going to go to the art folder, which is not an art folder. We'll just make an art folder. Art. And in that folder, we will put our bush that we just made. Copy that into here. Now how this texture works is, since this is a contained folder that contains its own main.materials, since the texture bush.dds, snow diffuse 7, since those textures are in there, they don't get locations where they're located. They just like this. They just listed like that. And the game knows that the textures are in there. So we'll load the level, and that bush will load right in. And once we rebuild the collisions, it'll use the soft collisions from the custom ground model. Hitachi Raceway. Now, if you have your own custom level, then you can implement this in your own level and share it, but you can't share a developer level in the same way that you can share your own level unless you... that's just a lot to explain. I'm not going to try to explain it. Not in this video. Let's go to our asset browser and let's load in that bush. There's the art folder, bush. There's our beautiful bush. And there's our ugly bush with snow on it. So we will rebuild collisions. Now we will run into bush. You know what I just realized? The one with snow on it doesn't have a collision there. That was an error on my part. Now one could go the extra step. I won't get into it here. But one could make a custom particle that shows leaves flying everywhere. But you'd have to trick the game into thinking that one of these terrains, say mud for example, which mud normally has its own particle, but you drive over it, it cleans up mud. You would basically edit the mud particle. This mud isn't. There it goes. Yeah, see that mud? So you'd have to change that particle. That's a whole nother video. But it's possible to change that particle, trick mud into showing leaves, and paint mud where the bush is, so that when you hit the bush it slings up the particle, but instead of it showing mud it would show leaves. Which I planned on doing that at some point, but actually I thought about making like some trees too that did that, but I haven't really made any trees that are in any way as good as their trees on their levels. But that's how you do this bush if you wanted to do. Just the snow one doesn't have the. I'm not going to include that snow bush. It's ugly. But yeah, I forgot to add the collision mesh for that one.